Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This series is called Girl Talks, where I interview women who are changing the world. Today I've brought on Megan Looney, one of my favorite people in the planet Earth. Oh. She is a personal trainer, a good friend of mine, a blogger, a podcast, and an overall badass woman. Am I allowed to say badass? Yes, I am. It's my channel. Say whatever I want. And she's here today to talk about her transition from bodybuilding into a more flow style, intuitive fitness process. So we're going to go through a couple questions. Stick around. If you like this content, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know what you want to see down in the comments below for workouts, recipes, and all the things. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscription button right now. Okay, let's get into it. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to my casa, mi casa.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
This is Girl Talk, so there's really no structure in this. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a free-form dialogue, but what I would really love to hear from you is your experience in fitness, what got you started in helping women, why you're so passionate about it, and what your journey was from bodybuilding, because you did a couple shows.
I did three.
I did three shows. And what was that like?
Very cool to see how the human body can manipulate itself and change over time with a lot of structure, but also super weird to get on stage in a teeny tiny little bikini and heels. That's not like my personality type.
Interesting.
So that was challenging in and of itself.
Yeah, I've never done, and this isn't to say, you know, no or be a hater on shows, but I've personally never done it because, yeah, that feels really weird to me.
Right.
We thought about it. Sarah and I both thought about it back in the day when we first got into fitness. Decided against it. Just didn't feel right.
Well, because like the part of it is you're sweating your ass off. You look really gross for 3 months, getting ready for this show. You're disgusting. And then you put in extensions, get your hair done, put on this glitzy bikini and walk on stage. And it's like, that's not a real representation of what this process has looked like.
Anyway, okay, so you did 3 shows and then what happened? What changed? Because you're not doing them anymore.
Well, yeah. So I grew up an athlete, was in competitive athletics until I was about 23, was a competitive springboard diver for 10 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cool. So bodybuilding was appealing to me because I had the competitive component of it, but the judging is super subjective and it's really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like cliquey. You know, so you have to be on the right team. You have to be under the guidance of the right coach in order to get the right attention. And so it wasn't like, it wasn't always necessarily like the best person on stage won. So that's super hard for somebody who comes from a competitive background to not know what necessarily I'd have to do in order to get the placement that I wanted to get. You know?
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. So I did 3. Decided enough is enough with that, and still kind of stuck to the bodybuilding like structure of workouts for at least a year after I stopped competing, and then realized like how bad my body dysmorphia was. Like it was huge, and I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who's got out of the bodybuilding world without having body dysmorphia. Because you see these girls who start to put on a healthy amount of body fat and a healthy amount of weight, and then they call themselves fluffy, and it just perpetuates a really unhealthy like way of thinking about yourself.
Yeah, that's, there's this almost like, especially with Instagram, and you know, everybody's out there putting out this image, and there's so many like fit girl accounts that it's like it creates this unrealistic standard that people think is healthy, or that's what we're supposed to look like, especially as women. It's actually healthier to have a little bit of body fat. We need it hormonally. So we've seen that a lot over the years.
Well, and people oftentimes look at these girls on stage at bodybuilding competitions. They say like, oh, well, this is the healthiest. Competitors will say, well, this is the healthiest I've ever been, or this is the fittest I've ever been. It's not true. Like that for sure is not like your healthiest. Yeah. To be 10% or under for body fat for women, that's not your healthiest. No. And that's not maintainable. Like the physique that women have on stage is maintainable for maybe like, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks. You know, and then your body wants to put weight back on.
Yeah. And in that last couple of weeks of training, I do know this is like one thing I have a real bone to pick is the bodybuilding trainers that are teaching and coaching people into, you know, getting down to under 10% body fat are saying to, in the last couple of weeks of training, to cut out all sugar, all carbs, basically to get that lean, including fruit. So that was something that we always had a bone to pick with, because it's like fruit is not actually bad for you in moderation. And as part of a balanced diet, it's actually really good for you. There's tons of micronutrients, tons of hydration and fiber and all these other things. And so anyway, if you're out there thinking that fruit is bad because it has sugar in it, yes, it has sugar, but it also has fiber.
Don't listen to them.
So it slows the digestion. But that's where it came from, you know? It came from that bodybuilding diet in the tail end specifically, where it gets super extreme.
Yeah. When you're overloading your body with protein, which is super hard for your organs to process through, you know? So I think there are a lot of myths in the bodybuilding world that like everyday people, and my clients included, have picked up over time, and you have to kind of dispel those things. Like, fruit is good for you. 150 grams of protein every day for an average sized woman, probably not healthy.
A bit much.
You know, like, and some of these things are kind of why I eased my way out of bodybuilding style workouts, eased my way out of like hyper structured weightlifting, cardio, regimented calorie counting. What is that? That's another orthorexia, I think, right? Where you're like obsessed with counting calories. And that for sure was my case after I got out of bodybuilding. And I mean, what way of living is that? Really?
It ain't living. That ain't living. That's slowly dying, honey.
It was awful.
Where's the pizza?
Well, like, I kid you not, I would go out to eat pizza and I would plug it into my fitness pal. I'm like, well, there goes all my calories for the day. Like, I guess I'll starve myself. Like, yeah, that's not good. So messed up.
That's not good.
So messed up.
So, okay, so that was where you were, and that was the journey that you went through. And where are you now? What has changed, and how can that apply for people out there who maybe they were considering doing a show, maybe they've done a show and are relating to some of these things you're talking about? What's available? What's next? Like, what have you found to be a better, more balanced, healthier way to live, approaching fitness and nutrition?
Yeah. And before I answer that, for the record, like, I don't think bodybuilding shows are inherently bad. I just think you need to go into it with like already a really healthy sense of self and a really healthy sense of like body positivity. Because if you don't, it'll like tear you to shreds. So just
as it rips you to shreds.
Yeah.
As you get shredded, you will be emotionally shredded.
Oh, that's so sad. But it's true.
Yeah.
But it's true. Please listen to me. If you ever hire a competition coach who gives you an 800 calorie a day diet, please leave that person. It's so unhealthy. And it happens way more often than it should. So what do I do now? I'm way more intuitive with my eating and with the way I work out. So it's way less structured. There's way more freedom for play in the way that I work out. And there's way more freedom for like tapping into what my body's telling me in terms of what I eat. This takes practice, I think, you know, and this takes like really like sinking into your body and hearing it. And what my workouts look like now, I usually lift anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week. And then I do other things outside of that. I do a lot more yoga now. I do a lot more dance. I recently got into pole dancing, which is one of the single most liberating things I've ever done.
Really?
And I highly encourage every woman try it at least once.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've taken a couple classes. I haven't done it consistently, but it was super fun.
Yeah.
Do you do it in heels?
Sometimes heels, sometimes not. It just depends on the type of class, but
super fun.
It's helped me get in touch with like my body in a way that I never have before. Like, you embrace your curves, you embrace the way your body moves, you know, you embrace the jiggly bits. Your courage to shake the jiggly bits, you know?
Amazing.
So that's been really cool. And then I know you're super, you know, like you're a yoga instructor, and I'm sure you can preach the benefits of yoga for days, but yoga has been a way for me to slow down, a way for me to focus on mobility, a way for me to stretch the overused parts of my body. So that's been really cool as well.
Very cool. Yeah, it sounds like you're getting a lot more flexibility, mobility, and more balance in the approach. Because what I found in strength training is very like linear masculine approach. And so what I'm hearing is like in pole dancing or in yoga, you're like more flowing, more of a feminine way of moving.
I could probably talk about that for hours, but like I didn't realize how my approach to weightlifting and my approach to fitness had impacted the way that I show up in the world. So, and again, I'm not saying this is good or bad, but my approach to weightlifting, which was horse blinders on, hat down, I went in, I did my hour-long routine, lifted heavy, and then I normally would carry that attitude out into the world with me. And like, I just was in a masculine like headspace always, you know, and that's, you know, I slowly realized over time, like, that's not what I want, you know, and it's not what the men that I wanted to date wanted either. Right. Like that affects your dating life.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
And I think it's good in some ways. Like it also can affect your career and be super powerful in that way. So like learning the balance and which energy to bring out when. And so it's really, I'm excited to hear that you have more of a balanced routine now. Super cool. So what about nutrition? Like what does a day in the life look like for you?
So I stopped eating meat in January. I try to lean more towards the vegan side, but I would consider myself vegetarian. And it varies day to day, you know, but I usually have a cashew-based yogurt in the morning. So good. And then I'll usually have like a nut butter sandwich on Ezekiel bread and some type of, I don't know, veggie and protein, like edamame nutritional yeast. Seeds. Is there anything that you would say not to eat? No. Because I don't think that we should live in like a restrictive state. I would say don't eat a whole cake every day, but like, you know, moderation. Like if I really want something, like if I'm really craving frozen yogurt, I'll probably just go get frozen yogurt.
Cool.
Because I think that depriving yourself of these things on a consistent basis is not going to lead you where you want to go.
Totally. Cool. Well, that's all I have for you. I have one final question that I like to ask everyone on this series. What does sisterhood mean to you?
Sisterhood to me means finding yourself in a group of women where you feel at home. So finding yourself in a group of women, and I find that with you, you know, where you feel supported, you feel loved, you feel safe. And I think it just opens up the door for free-flowing vulnerability, which is huge, you know?
Ooh, I love that. That's a good answer. Well, thank you for joining me for today's Girls Talks. If you liked this or you are interested in learning more about what Megan does and her zone of genius or checking out her podcast, make sure you check out the links below. I will link it all up for you guys down there. And check back, subscribe, hit the like button, and chat with us. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Have you ever done or considered doing a bodybuilding show? Why or why not? Join the conversation down below and let us know. All right, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.